Good afternoon, everyone. It's Kirsten here for a Thursday Spa Business Break here at Kirsten Foss Coaching. So one of the things I'm noticing this time of year is I'm getting lots and lots of spa owners contacting me and wanting some support with their decision to hire a team. So many of these are solo estheticians who have been rocking it in their business. They're really busy and they're ready to leverage their business growth. So today I wanted to talk about hiring mindsets or recruiting mindsets because there definitely are some sticky places when it comes to shifting over from being a solo spa owner to being a spa with a team. Very, very different. Even though the services that you're offering are the same, the whole dynamic of your business changes. And if you are expecting things to kind of the status quo to keep rolling, only just to have, we're just going to have some more people doing services, then you are sorely mistaken and you're setting yourself up for a lot of stress and quite possibly a few bad hires. And sometimes that can snowball into feeling like, I don't want to manage people. This is crazy. This is too stressful. But what actually happened is that it all started with a mindset that really wasn't in alignment with what you need as a leadership mindset going into hiring. So that's what I want to talk about today is what kind of mindsets do you need to be prepared to shift into before you even start recruiting, and definitely before you bring on your first team member, okay? You gotta have your head right first for this. So the first thing I want to share with you as far as mindset is that you want to be exceptionally clear about your spa business values and your vision. Now, most of you are clear about your vision, most of you. Sometimes that's a little bit too vague. But that's okay. That's easy enough. Like once you have kind of your main vision as far as like, what do you want to grow into? Do you want to niche into something in particular? Do you want to be more of a med spa? Do you want to shift more into holistic aesthetics? Like there's so many options. But once you are ready to start recruiting, yes, you want to have a clear vision about where your business is going in the next 2 years, 5 years, like what, and what's the big, hairy, audacious goal. But more importantly, what I find is missing is spa owners not being very clear about their values, their business values, which are very much tied into their personal values. Because in this kind of business, in this industry, it's a purposeful career move, especially as an entrepreneur. We don't go into this, we don't go into the spa industry to make $1 million because it can be tough to make $1 million as service providers. We can do it as a team, but it takes a lot of work. It's not the kind of business where if you just want to go in and make money, this is just not the one that you want to choose. Really to get back to it, we are in this business because we are about purpose. We have a purpose that we want to serve to our community, and usually it has to do with, hey, Mike, nice to see you here. Awesome. And usually the purpose has to do with something about the self-worth of the people in your community and helping them with their own self-worth via spa treatments or skin treatments or lash treatments, whatever it is that you happen to offer. Really, the bottom line is about helping people feel better about themselves through spa services. So because that's kind of what most people get into the industry for your specific business, and when you are specifically trying to looking at recruiting, you want to be epically clear about what your values are for your business, because that is how you start attracting the right fit. And I'm curious if any of you have been doing hiring, do you ask your hires in your interviews what their values are? And sometimes this question can take people off guard because they may not have thought about their values. But I urge you to include this question into your interview process, and just, they might flounder about it for like a little bit, but just give them some space. Don't jump in there to help them. Give them just some space to think about it so that they can start digging into what do they value about their career? What is most important to them? When you are able to hear what their values are, they may be a little bit different from yours, but they might be quite close. close enough that it would be in a good aligned fit. So my first piece of mindset advice for you is to get really clear. It's a bit tactical and it has to do, but it leads into a mindset. The tactical piece is be very clear on your spa business values. My recommendation is that you choose 5 of them. There's lots of resources online that you can just Google in and Google list of values. There should be, come up with a list of like at least kind of a couple of hundred so that you have some really good juicy ones to dig into. What I recommend my clients do is they print out that list just from the internet, get a highlighter and then get a pen. I want you to star your top 20 values because there's so many, it's hard to sometimes whittle them down. Star your top 20, then take your top 20 on, put them on a piece of paper, then circle your top 10. Then out of that top 10, you want to whittle it down to your top 5, take a highlighter and pick the 5 that mean the most to you. So it's a quick little tutorial on how to narrow into your spa business values. I also, a tactical piece to this is to include your values in your job descriptions. Include your values in your job ads. You're trying to attract like people. So you want to have those values right out there. Because obviously if, it just helps, same with marketing. If you are recruiting is kind of like marketing. If you are putting it out there that you're looking for team members, you want to attract the right ones. So using the kind of using certain types of language is going to help people find the right match. So if a recruit is looking at your list of values and they're like, meh, it's awesome because they're just deselecting themselves from the process and you can save yourself a lot of time. All right, so once you've got a clear vision and you've got clear values, what this does for your mindset is it gets your head in the right space for recruiting. You are clear about the person that you want to bring on, and it's more than just service skill set, okay? So it's important that we have aligned values with team members. The other piece of mindset that I want to share with you is the mindset of, okay, how do I put this? It's about urgency. And sometimes when we are in that position where we know we want to hire, we can feel that sense of urgency almost gripping us. Maybe you are really busy and you can't handle the workflow that you've got, and it's feeding this sense of I gotta hire. And that urgency, unfortunately, kicks into gear into like a more of a panic. And then you are making decisions too fast. You're maybe you're not slowing down enough to actually see what's coming along. You're not slowing down enough to be able to listen really clearly. And listening for those red flags, listening for those kind of between the lines messages that happen during conversations, during interviews. So I urge you, if you are in this place of a bit of feeling that urgency or panic, like you need to hire, is to do some of your own kind of mental work about calming down, slowing down. Even though you feel like I have to fix this really fast and I'm going to fix it with a staff member, it's not fast. Hiring a team member is not a quick fix, okay? That is one piece of advice I want to make sure that really lands with you. Hiring a team is a long-term growth strategy. If you think that hiring somebody is a short-term strategy for you, it's going to be very frustrating. The whole hiring process is going to be frustrating, and it's often, it's hard to kind of hold on to them because we didn't hire properly to begin with. So if you're feeling like that panic, like you need to hire, the mindset that I want you to adapt is one of more calm, one of I don't need to rush into this, one of I've got this, and I'm gonna work on this methodically, and I'm gonna work on this thoughtfully so that I'm making the right decisions right out of the gate for new hires, okay? So you definitely don't wanna be hiring in a panic. If you do still feel like it is a bit of a panic, like I really could use somebody, try to push that to the side and just slow your roll on this one. Slow it down, be more methodical with what you're doing in your recruiting and hiring process. All right, let's talk about, so we've got those two mindsets, one about being clear, having a really clear vision, and then the other mindset of being a calm leader, getting started right out of the gate as calm, methodical, strategic. You can't be strategic when your brain's all in a Twitter, okay? So I want to give you a few tips on preparing to hire and what you need to how you need to get your head in the game as you prepare to hire. The first piece is you need to realize that any of your hires are not a friend. They're not a peer. They are somebody that works for you. And this is one of those pieces that I notice has been a real struggle for a lot of spa owners. It was a struggle for me too. Because we've gone from solo owner operator, and we're hiring a team member, we're often really excited to work with somebody else. And that often confuses the relationship status. And so it's really easy to be sharing too much personal information, sharing too much business information, and it muddies the waters of your relationship between you and your team member. Your team member needs to know that they can look up to you, that you've got this, that you will guide them, that you will support them. But if you're sharing too much kind of behind the scenes stuff that they really don't need to know about, then it starts getting confusing for your team members and it starts eroding trust, all right? So I know it's tough. It's kind of sucks. I know we're all a bunch of feely people here and we all just want to get along. But if you want to make your leadership much easier and for your team to trust you and things to run smoothly, that's that piece of mindset in there, is that you're not a peer, okay? You are in a leadership role. The other piece of information I want to share is that you have a duty as an employer, as a leader, to make sure that you are organized and that you have systems set up for your team members. There is nothing more frustrating as a new employee to a new business to kind of get in there in your first couple of weeks and it's an absolute gong show. You know, the owner isn't organized as far as like the training that's happening. Maybe the training gets cut off because something else comes up. You know, those kinds of situations. So I want you to understand that as an employer and having employees, it is your duty to be organized with systems before you bring them on board. So that may trigger some like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be in as quite a rush as I am. Okay, so that I'm hoping that will support the mindset of slow your roll when it comes to recruiting and hiring. The other piece is you have a duty to properly train, coach, and continue supporting your team members. I know that if you've been in this industry for a while, kind of the old way of doing things, and unfortunately, a lot of times we've learned how to lead based on our previous experiences from other leaders in our lives. And in the salon and spa industry, it's been epically broken for a really long time. So when it comes to having, you hire this person, it's time to onboard them, you have a duty and responsibility to be organized with your systems, which includes your onboarding and your training system. And as well as continuing on after their training. How are you coaching them? How are you supporting them? So sometimes this all of a sudden gives this major light bulb moment for some solos who had this false idea that hiring is an easy, quick fix just to leverage your business. It's not. It's a lot of work and it's a big decision and you have a lot of responsibility. And it's okay to dig into these kinds of topics and talk about the not so great parts of them, because you need to know the truth before you get into the middle of it. Because it's really just setting yourself up for success. And when you set yourself up as a leader for success, you set your team up for success. Isn't that a nice little outcome from that? So I'm always loving to hear stories of success with teams and how you've done it with your team if you finally nailed a little system that you've got. And I also like hearing about the stories that didn't go so well, because those teach us a lot. We often have our greatest lessons from our greatest failures. I'm one of those people that full on, my greatest success came out of my greatest failure. And that is, my greatest failure was I totally dropped the ball as a new spa owner way back when. I didn't have proper systems. I didn't have a handbook. I didn't have an operations manual. I was not supporting my team well. I didn't hire properly. I wasn't super clear about my values. I didn't have enough systems set up. And lo and behold, after a couple of months of my new hires, I had 2 that were really needed to go. So it's okay when we have failure, because it's not really failure. We certainly do learn a lot. And I'm here to share with you my own failures to let you know it's normal, but I also don't want you to make them again. So sharing what works, what doesn't work, sometimes can feel a little bit vulnerable, but it certainly helps to raise the bar as the industry as a whole. Don't you agree? All right, thanks so much for joining me for today's Thursday Spa Business Break, and I will be here next week again at 12 noon Pacific. We'll see you then.